Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Tuesday. Let's talk. Hold on, I have some sounds going on behind me. All right, we're going to head into baseball real quick. I'm going to get the boys in here to talk real quick. Let's talk about Juan Soto.
Yeah, Jake, your team, you can go first.
Yankees finally made a move. Do we have the numbers up there? The before and after trade. So what's interesting with this trade is, it really helped the Yankees during the regular season, but you can see that the World Series percentage only went up from 1.8% to 2.6%. And that's because while the Yankees landed a stud, they got rid of a lot of their depth when it comes to pitching. So if they don't land a Yamamoto, they're going to have real trouble with their pitching wise. But I mean, they have the prospects to get a big pitcher. But the odds moved from plus 1,000 to plus 800 on Caesars to win the World Series. And we would set them at plus 3,800 to win the World Series. So it's just taking advantage of Yankees fans who see the big name and they're like, oh, we're winning the World Series. Not even though the odds are not in our favor.
Yeah, and a massive move by the Yankees as well, getting Alex Verdugo from their rivals. Definitely did not expect that. There aren't too many Yankees-Red Sox trades in Major League Baseball history. But that's a massive depth move for the Yankees, especially with Jason Dominguez out for likely this entire year. If he can even come back at the end of the year, the Yankees outfield is going to be unbelievable. They have tons of depth and tons of talent. The defense will be slightly lacking, but they just got Trent Grisham as well that can come off the bench and play defense.
Yeah, Grisham's probably every seventh inning he's going to come into the last couple innings, and Dominguez is a plus defender when he does play, which could be a while, probably at least June or July. But I mean, I love this move. I saw a stat that of Aaron Judge's 37 home runs last season, the Yankees had a runner in scoring position just on 4 of those home runs. That's an insane stat.
That sounds about right with how terrible their leadoff men were for the season.
And Verdugo, if you look at his spray chart, it's very favorable for Yankee Stadium. So that's something that you like to see as well. Even though I'm a little skeptical of that trade, you do need players who get on base and at least who hit the ball and not strike out every single time. So that's what he'll do.
Do New Yorkers have like the power to really influence the market the way like Cowboys fans and Lakers fans?
Oh, absolutely. It's so if you see Yankees at minus 140, it should probably be around even odds.
Right.
So
there's a running joke that any Yankees line is always there's never value because every single Yankees fan, and it's kind of like the Cowboys, like you mentioned, across the nation bets on them.
Right. Well, good to know moving forward into the future. Again, as more MLB trade news in general comes out, we'll certainly be the first to talk about it, show you guys how it affects the market. Before we get into Thursday Night Football, we want to take a little road trip down memory lane, looking at our overall record since we started the show in the beginning of August. Now, Steven, I know these are your numbers, so I'll let you talk about it a little bit, but if there were red on this, we would see no red anyway. We're just in the green.
Yeah, I did cherry pick today because yesterday was a phenomenal night. As you can see from Nick S hitting a plus 33,000 parlay. I hope we were part of that. I hope he wasn't fading us on all those picks, but yeah. So I was like, hey, let's choose tonight as a good one to tout. Hey, yeah, I'm honest. But if you saw the next chart, so nearly plus 2,000, and then with the majority of that coming through our player props. So we're like to tease it out. Fridays, we've been doing our player prop show, and during the NBA non-NFL season, we'll probably do a lot more of those specifically to capitalize on this streak.
Yeah, good stuff there. We got the prop party tomorrow to come in hot again. So this is where you want to be when it comes to the player props here. We'll talk a little more college football bowl games too, but we'll hit some of that today with all the transfer portal mess going on, where you can find your value. Before we get to that, we got to go classic. We got to hit the Thursday Night Football Tron graphic, which never fails us. We like Pittsburgh's team total tonight, under 18.5. A lot of under agenda on the board tonight.
Yeah, so this is like a historically low over-under. So the Patriots have allowed, even in this losing streak, they've allowed 6, 10, and 10 the last 3 weeks. And 2 of those offenses that they face are considered quality offenses in the Chargers and Colts. Pittsburgh's only scored 10, 16, and 10, and that includes 2 subpar defenses, Arizona and Cincinnati. So, and this is not a game where either team's going to be trying to outscore the other as much as not commit turnovers and short fields. So with obviously everyone expects a low scoring game. The biggest thing is I just can't imagine a run-oriented Steelers offense scoring more than 4 drives. And I can't imagine Mitch Trubisky converting 50% in the red zone. So I kind of like the optimistic scenario for Pittsburgh being 7 from a touchdown and 3 field goals as their high end, which is 16. So that's what I'm banking on there.
All right. Way to be optimistic, Steve. Let's move to your next pick. Still another under, even though we will be on the ground. You still like Najee Harris under 60.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, and if you want to go through the next one as well, because I'm really packing this. I got to admit, after yesterday's hot streak, I feel like a little less than confident and enthusiastic. So I have 2 events tonight that I have to fake enthusiasm for. One, my kids marching, my band recital, and the other being the office holiday party. So I can't muster for this. So I just pulled this one out knowing that I'm probably not going to hit both of these. But I do think the probability of both of these running back unders hitting is higher than both of them going over. And the more likelihood that I'm looking at a 2-1 night for these 3 picks. But in the end, Harrison more, the Steelers have been running the ball more effectively the last few weeks. But the Patriots, for all their issues, have been shutting down the running game. Allowing I want to say under 90 for a good 7 weeks in a row. Maybe one time allowing that. So in our projection model, we have around 91 total projected rushing yards for Pittsburgh. So we have the similar split between Harris and Warren as that betting lines have, but at that 91, as opposed to if you add Trubisky's rush yard, the odds would have the team total at around 120. So since we have a good 30 yards under that, that's where the unders for both players come from. And again, the whole goal will be not the explosive play that allows you to put up 24. The whole goal is not turning it over and ball security and net yarding 10 yards every time with the punt game.
Yeah, the big concern here is Harris has been injured, so he barely practiced this week. So if he leaves the game early, that would help Warren. But yeah, but that'd be good if you do 1-1 and hopefully still hit the Steelers. So that's another one.
It's a 2-1 board here.
Yeah,
right,
just go for
I
a
do
2-1.
notice a lot of the books didn't have these lines on the board. They had everyone had Zeke on, but no one had not everyone had both these guys on.
All right. Well, we like these 2 players to go under their rushing yards, but how about Mitch? Mr. Mitch Trubisky. Did we like his rushing yards over 10.5 at all?
I think we only had him projected for 9, but I no, actually even less than that, barely any. But that's because he hasn't had a long track record in the last few years, because he hasn't had many starting opportunities. Again, I think he is. I would like over 10.5 because, but I was just looking right before the call, the new offensive coordinator, since they fired Matt Canada, if I could see any insight about whether he likes the RPOs and quarterback runs, and I couldn't figure anything out based on his limited track record as a coach. So anybody who knows
this could be a tight end running back heavy, like little dump off passes with this ugly matchup.
Well, that's in the chat. That's what I'm seeing. A lot of Freiermuth questions here. His line for receptions 2.5, longest reception 13.5, which I kind of like there. But what do we think about his receptions?
We like the receptions over with 3 projected. Basically, we don't have any value on the yardage, so we wouldn't advise the long reception.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. I think that's all of the NFL questions I see so far. If I didn't get it, please just mention in the chat. We will get to them. We're going to move on to quick college football conversation to be had. Again, these bowl games are going to be ugly. A lot of people transferring. However, Jake is on top of all of it and knows QB3s of small schools I've never even heard of and knows how it will affect the betting market. So I bring you the transfer portal graphic. You can see who's in the portal right now. A lot of quarterbacks in some of these games, both quarterbacks in the portal. So let's start with UTSA versus Marshall. You think Marshall's quarterback being gone in this game is going to be a big impact?
Yeah, so Marshall's quarterback Cam Fancher just entered the portal yesterday, and the line just moved from 8.5 to 9.5. Yeah, the portal is insane. Who isn't in the portal is the biggest question. But we had UTSA winning by 9 before I changed Marshall's quarterback. And the last game that Cam Fancher didn't play, Marshall lost 28-0 to South Alabama. So it's just betting on UTSA and with a 6-year quarterback to just dominate Marshall, who has a lot of players who are just mad and on the outs.
Okay, so that's a play we want to act now on because this could probably start steaming maybe closer to 11 once people realize the impact of this portal situation. Let's move over to Coastal Carolina playing San Jose State. Now, Coastal Carolina is basically down all their quarterbacks, but you still like the over here. Lean to it. Why would that be?
Yeah, so their QB3, Ethan Vasco, Kansas transfer, he is running quarterback and he's had some success running the ball. And we like that against San Jose State team who doesn't have the best defense. And the big thing is here, we like San Jose State to put up plenty of points against the Coastal Carolina team that led up over 50 points to App State in their last game. So we have 59 points being scored, and I think the line's at 54.5. And I think people see that both Coastal's top 2 quarterbacks are in the portal, but their QB3 has started 2 of the last 3 games for them. So I think there's some value on the over here. I could see it steaming up.
Okay. Interesting there. And then another game, both quarterbacks are now in the portals, or left with 2 QB2s, which makes you like the under here in Boise State, UCLA.
Yeah, Dante Moore for UCLA, he's in the portal. And for Boise State, Taylor Green is in the portal. He has a small chance of coming back. His best friend and roommate, Ashton Genty, just announced that he's staying at Boise. Boise retained their interim head coach as the permanent head coach. So Boise's definitely fired up about that. But if you look at Boise's last 6 games, they've been really good against the run. UCLA's quarterback's out, and that other quarterback, Ethan Garbers, is banged up, and he's going to be questionable heading into that game. So they're going to run the ball a lot. Boise, they're down to, as of right now, a true freshman who I think has thrown the ball once all season, and a walk-on who hasn't thrown the ball at all. So there's not a lot of experience in the quarterback room between both teams. So you're going to see a lot of running, and UCLA, I think, allows less than 90 yards per game on the ground. And Boise's strength is the running. So there's going to be a lot of carries in this game. And the total didn't move. It stayed at, throughout all this craziness, it stayed at 49.5. So I think you're going to get value on the under here. I could see it steaming down if Ethan Garbers is out. And it's just going to be a triple option from both teams game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So maybe wait and see. But honestly, this might be the best line you can get for this game here. All right. We're taking the football caps off. We're moving on to the NBA. Stay with us, guys. Here we go. NBA in-season tournament. 2 games tonight. Again, if you have any questions, please ask them in the chat. But let's hide most of these so we're not distracted. Let's start with Tyrese Halliburton, who had a great game a few nights ago. Now, Steven is on his over for points, rebounds, and assists. Jake's on just his assist prop. But Steven, we'll start with you, and then Jake will head to your point too.
Yeah, I love Halliburton because even though our model has only a slight lean on the over at 45.1, that's despite the fact that we're not projecting 257 points like the over-under has gone up to. We only had like 250. So the fact that we're actually having leaning an under, and we're only projecting 9.9 made field goals for him. And he's had 10 or more in 8 of his last games. His scoring average is up, 6 full points this year. And his assists are up 2 assists, and his rebounds are up slightly. So we have adjusted his increased usage and production. At the same time, we're still using some stats from last year, which, is dragging him down a little bit. So all the factors that long story short, is we've been under projecting him. And despite under projecting him, we still like the over. So that's why I add those 2 factors and love that.
See, pays to have the guys who code the model also on camera telling you when it's time to act on their own flaws. We love to see that. All right, let's move on to Damian Lillard here.
I make fun of you.
Yes, someone's got to do it.
Damian Lillard, yeah. I mean, I know it's obviously a very different situation, but last time he was on a neutral court in a playoff type atmosphere, he was awesome in the bubble. This is another case where he hasn't been shooting that great in his first, one or 20 some odd games in Milwaukee, but the regression he's only got 35% on threes. But the last few games, he's warmed up recently. He's hitting 17 of his last 40. I see him finishing the year at the high 30s. And to start doing that, he's got to start shooting around 40% to make up for the 35% start. You can still get 26.5. A few hours ago, it was on FanDuel. I think now it's on ESPN. FanDuel bumped it up to 27.5. So I expect this 26.5 to last around another 5 minutes. And again, super high scoring game. And, an implied total of 130 at this point for Milwaukee. You got to figure that Dame can muster 30, 28 of that, 37 of that.
Fair enough. Let's go to a team that we don't think will be scoring a lot of points, going to the Pelicans, under 114.5 points against the Lakers tonight.
Yeah, the Lakers, when they don't try or when they're on the road in a non-key spot, their defense can look horrendous. But when they try, their defense is actually really good. So in the games that counted towards the in-season tournament and the game versus Phoenix, they allowed 119 in the first matchup against Phoenix. But after that, it's 107, 95, 99, and 103 last night for a 104.5 average. So and Lakers at home have always been a great defensive team, even last year. It's not a home game, but it's more comparable to a home game because they're going to be rested. I used to make the trip to LA to Vegas on a car at 1 a.m. This is no problem for if you got a private flight. And then the Pelicans, obviously it's not a true road. It's not a road game in terms of crowd noise and whatnot. But if I got to figure the crowd's going to skew anyway, it's probably going to go towards the Lakers side. I hear Staples Center was pretty insane for that home game. So it's more likely that there'll be Lakers fans in Vegas than New Orleans fans. And the Pelicans average 60 points on the road at just 111, or in this case, away from home. And I think that the size of the Lakers will make it difficult for Zion to dominate. And then the fact that they have their healthy wings back, it'll make it difficult for guys like Trey Murphy and Herb Jones who've been playing well in third and fourth scoring roles.
Mm-hmm. Seems like Jake would beg to differ because he has Trey Murphy over 2.5 rebounds here. Okay, we're not looking for.
I went with his rebounds instead of his points because I saw the model doesn't really love Trey Murphy's points. I did play his points, rebounds, and assists over 17 on underdog, which is hit in his last 16 games or something like that, which is a crazy number. But
I like Trey Murphy's. Yeah, I think he's great. Just 12 points instead of 24, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his rebound line's at 2.5 last year against the Lakers. He had 5 rebounds, and 2 rebounds. He averaged 3.6 rebounds last year. His line's at 2.5 because he's only played 2 games this year and he had 3 rebounds and 2 rebounds. He had 2 rebounds last game. Before that, his last 4 games before that, he had at least 3 rebounds. So I like this over. And
what's his minutes look like?
He had, that's the big thing. He had 29 minutes last game. We have him projected for 30, and he's looking healthy. And his rookie year and 15 minutes per game, he averaged like 1.6. So like his average, as long as he plays 30 minutes, he's usually on pace for around 3.3, which the model has, and we have him at 30 minutes. So that's the key number. And with him playing 29 minutes last game, and this being a key game, you're expecting him to play around 30 minutes. So I like this over because of that.
You know who got plenty of minutes last night and scored 3 points? Kyle Lowry. So
our lone mishap, or one of our 2 mishaps.
Okay, let's go to one question in the chat here. I'll give some people the time to look at some last minute questions, but let's head to we're asking, I guess I'm assuming we'd like Lillard's PRA if we liked his points here.
I'm going more as
because you're a PRA kind of guy, so I'm assuming if you liked it, you would have.
Yeah, that's only because I'm lazy and I have the number right in front of me and I don't want to look it up. But I'm remarkably productive in spurts and lazy when after that spurt. But we like it. We lean over. We have 41. I think the line's at 39.5 in most places. So yeah, if we have a couple of points of value in the points, probably at least a point in assists and rebounds.
Yeah, there's a question about Giannis over 45.5 points and rebounds. Well, we don't have value in the model. He has dominated against Indiana, so I'm on that play. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I like that.
Yeah, I guess recently I've had put up massive rebounding numbers recently, so that's why it's coming down a little bit.
Okay, I see 2 questions about Thursday Night Football, so let's hit those super quick. We'll talk about Trubisky, his passing yard line, 182. I think we are just above that.
Yeah, we have it just right there. I mean, I do think there's Mason Rudolph is still there, and he's always been. I could see if Trubisky is playing terribly, that they would give Rudolph a chance. So I'd be worried about him playing a full game. Right.
Let's do one more Thursday Night Football play here. Bailey Zappi, his longest reception line right now is 30.5, which I guess that's more of an opinion than the model. But do we like Zappi be able to do something like that?
Not really. I mean, the line is only like 156, 155. And I think there's still a chance Mac Jones might revive get back the role. I don't know. Who's going to catch it? Because Devontae Parker, his receiving line is 36. So
maybe the one target that Tyquan Thornton had is 40
2 out of 4 top targets. It had to be Tyquan Thornton, right? That's the only one. He's the lead.
He dropped one bomb last week. I think he had
his big play was a rush.
Yeah.
So maybe with a little toss in the front when they do that, jet sweep with that counts as a pass. I mean, that's the way he gets it. But unless the juice here is like plus 300, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it's just going to be ugly. It's an under game. That's all it is at the end of the day. Yeah. But you know what? Someone's got to bet on it. Someone's got to make money, and we hope it's us. All right, that's all we have time for today. Tomorrow is the official prop party, so we'll do some more NBA, hopefully some college basketball since we don't have college football to bet on yet, but some NFL props for the weekend, and we should be good to go. So good luck with your bets tonight. Reach out to us on Twitter with any questions, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.